So this is going to be a lesson about the microscope in 5 minutes. So the main thing we need to know about the microscope are the parts of the microscope. So you should be able to identify the different parts of the microscope, and also the functions of each different part. So a function is what something does. And microscopes are really important for us in general because what they do is they magnify samples. So things that we are unable to see with our eyes alone, like for example bacteria, and sometimes viruses within different cells, we would be unable to see them without a microscope. So they are absolutely essential in science. And many of the scientists, I suppose, these days will be working here with protective equipment here, like you see on the top right. And they're studying what we call microbes, so bacteria, viruses, and also things called funguses. Okay. Now, inside in the school, we have a very basic microscope, and this diagram here represents that microscope. Okay. So you all should be able to label this microscope, the main parts, and tell me what it does. The first thing that's really important here is what we call the eyepiece. The eyepiece is the part that you look through up the very top. So it looks like a piece of glass. You look through this glass and you see the sample beneath it. Now the microscope eyepiece is something also that magnifies the sample below. So actually, if you're viewing a sample here below this, the eyepiece has already made it 10 times bigger because the magnification of the eyepiece in general in most microscopes is times 10. Okay, meaning it makes the image of the actual sample 10 times bigger than its actual size. So that's the eyepiece. That would be number one. The next thing then is number two, and this is what we call the fine focus wheel. Now you'll have all these spellings on the next slide here, but the fine focus wheel, as it suggests, makes things into clearer focus. Okay, so you would know all about this if you wear glasses, because let's say for argument's sake you're not wearing your glasses and you're looking out at something, then you mightn't be able to see the exact, say for example a person's face. It might just appear as a little bit of a blur at a distance. But if you put on your glasses, then you should be able to see their face in better detail, and that's exactly what a focus does. It just brings the sample into better detail. So when we're working with a microscope, there's two different focus wheels. This one here is called the coarse focus wheel, and this one's called the fine focus wheel. The coarse focus wheel is the bigger one, and that just means that it focuses it more roughly, so there's a bigger adjustment. And then if I want a very precise focus change, I will use the fine focus wheel. Okay, so coarse focus is the first kind of wheel that you use, and the second is the fine focus wheel. So once you want the precise measurement, that's what you'll do there. Now these three lenses here are called objective lenses. And objective lenses are what give even greater magnification. Because on a microscope, and we'll bring this into class the next day, we will see that there are times 4, times 10, and times 40 magnification on many of these objective lenses. And that means that the magnification is now increased. So let's say for argument's sake, I have times 4 is viewing here on this sample. That means I've already got an eyepiece, which is times 10. And now I've got times 10 times 4. So if 10 multiplied by 4 gives you 40. Therefore, what you're seeing in the eyepiece is actually 40 times greater in size than its actual size. Number 5 is what we call the stage. And the stage is basically where we put this little sample that we're interested in viewing. Okay, that's all it does. Number 6 then is where there's a light source. So on older microscopes, it used to be a mirror. So the mirror used to shine the light through the sample. But on most newer microscopes, what we have here is just a bulb. And the bulb will shine light through the sample so that when I